Okay, so let's see what we have for you guys. So I mentioned this with the other signs too, that I'm going to keep shuffling until something pops up, and then I'll pull out the rest of the cards. Okay, so we have the Seven of Swords in the reverse position. What's crossing it is the Strength card. So this can play out in a multitude of ways, so I'm going to draw the rest of the spread before I start talking, because I do feel that having a little bit more context as for the past and the present and the future is going to be vital here, okay? When you're dealing with the Seven of Swords, in whatever position it falls out. Okay, so this came out first. Okay, so I have 3 cards with number 5. 5 of Wands, 5 of Swords, 5 of Cups. So it is a little bit of a conflict-ridden week. And yeah, so okay, let's just talk about this. One thing that I would say is, first off, I do feel that a lot of you, Aquarius in general, and it's deep and it cuts really deeply when the other person betrays you, okay? So I do feel in this situation, a lot of you are having relationship problems. This is not so much of a Pentacles energy where it would indicate to me like new work situations. This is more of the same old love relationships. And this is not even anything that's new, anything that's recent. I do feel this is like failed relationship dredged back in, like from the far away past, and they keep coming in. Okay, so it's problematic because it's somebody that you really like. You were once very, very in love. You were like, their departure from your life, it was like it's not something that you wanted. If you left that person, or if they left you, I feel like even if you left that person, you felt like you had to, even though it killed you, you felt like you had to. And if the other person left you, it left a huge scar, okay? So you've healed up and you're in a good place right now. But every time, even the mention of their name just makes you feel really like unsettled. So for those of you who have been dealing with that significant relationship that didn't come to fruition the way you had hoped, I do sense in general that you're being tested again, okay? The other person is like pestering you and trying to engage into conflict with you. And I do feel that we don't have the we don't have the Six of Cups, which would indicate like either bitter or fond memories, depending on whether or not it comes up in the reverse or upright position, okay? So we don't have that. So we don't even like, they're not even a part of your life right now. They're not even in the equation, but every time, they try to resort to very childish tactics to suck you into conflict with them because they need validation that you still care about them. It's sort of like they're not even in the picture, but this conflict is brewing, and they're trying to engage you into battle just to prove that, that they still matter to you. So first of all, don't let that situation suck you back in, because it's very childish, okay? It's childish behavior from the other party. So what I am sensing here is with the Seven of Swords in the reverse position, a lot of you are or a lot of you, you know that the other person is not a good person in general. So you might have cared about them, you might have loved them once upon a time, but I do sense in general that you know innately they're not the right person for you. So you kind of cut them out of your life. In this spread, I'm not even seeing the other person, which is a really good thing. It's sort of like their actions really have no bearing on you, but it left a deep scar, so every time you hear about them it still hurts a little bit, but it's not a heartbreak situation. Okay, you've gotten over it, you're done, and it's not going to factor into your life because the other person is not even in the picture. So good for you, but in general you know that they're not good for you, and you know that you're never going to go back to that situation. Okay, but they are trying to engage you into conflict because they deeply want to validate the fact that you still care about them. You're not going to let that get to you. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with here at the heart of the matter. This is how it's going to play out, and I do feel that you're not going to engage with them in conflict. You're going to let bygones be bygones. A lot of you, despite this immature behavior, you actually have forgiven the other person, even though you've never achieved that type of closure with them. You're at a point in your life where you're moving on. Okay, what's coming in for you here is somebody that is actually, and I'm reading this as you, and I'm sensing this is not another person, this is you, and this is you're ready for love again. And I do feel a lot of you are actually dating. Okay, because with this card you have a bird with a heart, okay, with a letter. So it's sort of like sending out very flirtatious text messages. It's sending out like communication that is it's sort of like puppy love, like starting out with very playful, very flirtatious, very heartwarming, sincere communication. When you just meet somebody for the first time and you're just not sure what you should send out, and you have all these emoticons all over your text messages, that's what I'm getting. This is like the first initial stage of the flirtation process. You're not together yet, but it is going to come to fruition, okay? Because at this point, you're over that past. You're not going to engage in conflict with that person from your past. You're ready to move forward and you're ready to find love, okay? So that's where you are right now. And I do feel that even if it's not like a love situation, you are realizing who really matters to you, and you're going to devote your time, you're going to devote your text messages to those people who have been around for you, who have been emotionally supportive. Okay, so you're starting to see who's important to you. You're going through that whole weeding out process, and now you're left with like a few dear quality people. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing here. As for the advice here is the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords is all about truth. It's in the reverse position, so coming in as the advice here is that you have to represent yourself in a true way. I'm going to see here if there's another sword energy. Okay, so I'm just going to go out on a limb and say this. For those of you who are like still engaging in conflict, a lot of you might be, or I feel like a lot of you are over it. A few of you might be sucked back into that situation, and then the other person is, trying to win you back. Okay, so I'm sensing that's what's going to happen. In general, the three cards that are indicative of conflict, this is, you have to fight fair. Okay, you have to like approach the situation in the spirit of learning, in the spirit of getting to the truth, rather than fighting the other person in a way just to prove that you're right. Okay, so it's not about proving who's right or who's wrong. It's about getting to the truth. It's about exposing the type of behavior that's not conducive for like high vibrational energy. Okay, so in general, I would say that for male, female Aquarians, represent your true self, okay? Because if you're starting dating or if you're starting out, you want to be extremely honest, and you want to also like project yourself in a way that is conducive for longevity, that is conducive for stability, where the other party sees the your honesty, your sincerity, okay? There's no shame in that. So don't play games, just, be yourself and be very sincere. So one of the danger I am sensing here is that you are an air sign. However, the way you're projecting yourself is kind of like a water sign. So authenticity is in question here, okay? So be true to yourself, say what you mean, and act like your natural self, because the phoniness, it never lasts for very long. That you will be found out, okay, if you're in that situation and you're perpetuating this, for example. So just represent yourself authentically. As for the external environment, we have the Four of Coins in the reverse position. So I do feel in general a lot of you might be dating somebody who is very like extravagant, okay? Who blows through a lot of money. So who's very extravagant, who likes to shower you with nice things, or who likes, the finer things in life. There's nothing wrong with that, except I feel that he or she might have the means to do it, okay? So if this is not your cup of tea, then that person is probably not the right one for you, and it can be potentially damaging if you are pursuing this person and you are kind of like, footing the bill, for example. So it could be potentially damaging for your pocketbook, for your bank account, okay? So just be very careful about this. And as for your hopes and fears here, we have the Five of Wands, another conflict card. So I do sense that in general, a lot of you might be, you're trying to avoid the conflict you're trying to avoid the conflict, and being an air sign, you know that in the past you've been very worked up over conflict, and you tend to get argumentative when you have like a very strong opinion about something. Aquarius is a fixed sign, so you are very fixed in your opinions, but at the same time, when you feel something, when you think something very strongly, you have to express it, okay? So you're trying hard, and that's what I mean by authenticity, okay? So you're trying to very hard to appeal to somebody on an emotional level. And you're an air sign, so you can do both. There's nothing wrong with doing both while still remaining authentic to yourself. So you're trying really hard to avoid this conflictual past behavior. And I feel in general you're going to have success, okay? One of the main thing is the Emperor is in the reverse position. So this is a karmic block here. And it's preventing you from, first of all, going back to previous situation to resolve it, okay? I do feel that conflict is kind of like from the past is dragging you in, and it's a little bit troublesome. And the Emperor wants you to know that there is no way you are going to go back to it. Just don't do it. Just, save yourself the frustration, because the other people are acting on very self-interested energies, okay? So move forward with your life. At the same time, if you are dealing with a water sign from the past, it's just not going to happen. It's never going to happen, okay? From the past, and I mean like if it's a brand new water sign, and by brand new, I would say possibly like May, before the Mercury retrograde period. You can even like go to somebody that you've met during the Mercury retrograde. Yeah, that's still fine. That's a new energy. When I say like old past energy, that's more conducive for you. And in general, you have the Fool here. This is going with the new. So out with the old, in with the new. And a lot of you might have like recently reinvented yourself, especially on the communication front, okay? You are coming to a point where instead of like, you have a breakthrough in your communication style. And I do feel that there is a mixture here. A lot of you are coming across as somebody who's very empathetic, who's very emotionally grounded. So what I mean is that I'm sensing a mixture. This is the moon. This is, the sword energy. Once again, it's the Ace of Swords. So I do feel that you are relying more on your intuition to navigate relationship issues. Okay, so you're not going to you're not going to try to get the last word in. You're not going to approach things the same way that you have in the past. And because of it, you're going to have a breakthrough in the way that you come across to other people, in the way that you're able to attract other people, in the way that you're able to relate to others emotionally. Okay, and I know it's hard for air signs to have that very strong emotional connection with another fellow air sign, for example. But I do feel that both of these cards are like, well, this card especially, it's a card of timing. So this process has to happen first for you to realize that conflict is not going to lead you anywhere. You don't really need to figure out what the truth is, because at the heart of it, you have the truth. Your intuition is telling you what's right and wrong, and your intuition is telling you what's going to work and what's not, okay? So you don't need concrete evidence for this. Trust your intuition here. And that's going to allow you to have new beginnings for yourself in love, in life, in finances, okay? It's not so much finance related. I do feel in general it's just relationship oriented, okay? And with the Emperor too, I would say like as soon as that Mercury retrograde period ended, which is behind for good, relationships, partners, work projects, everything. So now you're getting like clear confirmation that there's no way you can go back to it, okay? So you have a new sense of like a new communication breakthrough. You have a new sense of it's sort of like you developed a new way of thinking. So before you thought with your head, and now you're thinking with your intuition. So in general, that's what you really need, because you want to have a good balance. Okay, so it seems to me that new love is going to be coming in, at least new emotionally fulfilling opportunities in relationships and friendships as well. A lot of sweet, nice communication is coming in. A lot of flirtations, a lot of messages about love and devotion, and it's like puppy love all over again. So let me know how this plays out for you guys, and I hope you have a very wonderful weekend. I believe I mentioned this for Virgos. Go to a concert, okay? Every time I see this card, I'm thinking of like going to an outdoor concert, like in the summertime under the stars, like sit on the grass and listen to a very good concert, or at least just be outside when you do it, because this is what you need here to tap into nature and to also like be in alignment with your intuition. Okay, it's like to drown out all the noise in your head, all that Uranus activity that is like flooding your brain with a lot of like conflicting messages even, or it's just you overthinking everything. Just drown that out with some good music and listen to your intuition, okay? You're being guided on the right path here, because a lot of new beginnings are going to happen for you. All right, so have a wonderful weekend. Listen to some music, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much for watching.